Let's get into this. It's your boy Carcino here. Hit the like button up. On my way back, had to handle some business. I had to pick up some dildo stoppers. I got them. Now I'm all good to go. Now, here's what I often say, though it hurts to say, you know. When it comes to things like the narrative, right? We don't have a definitive reason for a lot of things to happen when it's materialized. We've often made judgments on people's behalves. We often gave our opinions on subjects that other people didn't think that we should. And because of those natures and the things that we have seen come to fruition, we're often pitted against one another. You know what I'm saying? So this whole Stephen A. Smith report that's coming out today, and everybody's like, this is breaking news. This is not breaking news. Because if you've been following me, and anybody who's been following me and has been on my channel, you should already know better. Because we've already discussed this. And I told you this was coming. When the whole LeBron thing went down, I told you about Stephen A. I told you what was to come. I said they're going to be reducing him down anyway from NBA coverage, and he's going to be moving towards more of a night show host and doing more things politically. I told you that when he was doing his new deal. This has nothing to do with Jasmine Crockett. Okay? This has nothing to do with the papaya thing. This has nothing to do with anything else. This has been done since he was jawing up and getting all pumped up with LeBron. This was done back then, that they were going to be transitioning him out of NBA coverage. And that's why I said that was probably the last time you was going to see him cover the finals when he did it, because he was out then. I told y'all then, I said LeBron's out. I mean, Stephen A. is out. LeBron got him out. Y'all thought it was a joke. It wasn't a joke. Stephen A. didn't want to do it no way. He's okay with it. His thing is to move on from there. And here's the thing that I told you also. His role on First Take is going to be reduced also. They're going to get other people in there. He's still going to be an executive producer, but that's going to eventually be limited. They're going to move him to football and other sports and just have Stephen A. spread all the way around. So this isn't breaking news for me. It might be breaking news for everybody else who's outside of us who didn't listen. But if you on my channel and you've been watching my videos, you already know this is not breaking news. This is here, but it has nothing to do with no Jasmine Crockett. It has nothing to do with any of that nonsense. This was already negotiated in the plans. The NBA don't want Stephen A. Smith. That's apparently true. They do not want Stephen A. around a lot doing stuff, period. A lot of the players have complained about him outside of LeBron James. You've had countless players saying they don't like the way he covers the game. They don't want him around their locker room. They don't want this guy around. It's been plenty of times. He's been very critical on players. That's why he's just like, well, F it. I don't have to be nice to LeBron no more. So he's just been going in on LeBron because now he's like, what the hell? I ain't going to be covering the NBA countdown no more. Now, Kenny the Jet Smith took that role. And he was always going to take that role and be brought in to take it. And that was fine with him. Because Kenny the Jet Smith and Stephen A are like this. Them like brothers. Kenny Smith's brother taught Stephen A, used to train him and teach him how to play basketball. That's how far they go back. They from the same neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They go back and they say things and it get crazy, man. We were looking at different times and when we look at different times, you're gonna be saying like, wow, man, this is a good business move for Stephen A. Stephen A's putting himself in a circle where he can no longer play hopscotch. He can't jump from the left, jump to the right, jump to the left, jump to the right. Those people gonna crush you because they ain't gonna want you back over there. They're gonna be stay on that side. And that's how the left is pretty much treating Stephen A. But he forgot he built all of his bones up through the left. You know, your NAACP awards, Essence, Image, all the black stuff you was getting, you bought your way in as an honorary Q dog. So all of that stuff will be taken away from you. Just like that. Just for messing with Jasmine Crockett is definitely was the thing that woke all these people up to see you for your wicked ways. And yeah, going after a black woman like that, oh yeah, that was it. He was, the brothers ain't gonna stand up for me. No, they not. They didn't like you no way. Now you went after Brian, that was a mistake for you, to them. And now this, oh, they ain't dealing with you. Well, I hope you guys are happy. Now, everyone wants to complain. That's everyone's new thing now. Let's just complain about everything. And then it'll fix itself. Just as long as we keep complaining about it, it's going to work out. Complaining has never worked for anybody. Now, Stephen A, LeBron got him, the Lakers got him banned. Long as LeBron is playing there, he can never sit courtside. Like, if he wanted to sit somewhere probably in the stands, yeah. But they don't want him covering Laker games and doing all that. So, Kenny the Jet Smith, he's going to do NBA. He's basically replacing Stephen A. So he didn't get fired from NBA Countdown, but you know, the replacement was coming. And the new deal, the NBA didn't want him. So to phase him out was appropriate. This dude playing solitary in the middle of the NBA Finals. He's taking credit for the ratings of the NBA Finals. When they know he had zero interest in the game whatsoever. Oh yeah, he didn't want Stephen A there courtside no more. And he didn't want him. The Lakers didn't want him. The NBA didn't want him because he was bad press. You know, saying things, and then since he started his Stephen A. Smith show, they were like, okay, yeah, this has got to stop. So they was like, you can't do both. So looks like you're okay with that show, and we're gonna not have you in the building. So that works wonders. So now Stephen A don't have to go to NBA games and do any coverage of the NBA games. He can do it now in the ESPN studios. majority of these people that you're talking about, what is the IQ level of these people? Because it seemed to me that they don't have the right intentions or the best intentions for everybody out there. Yeah, I was saying it the other day. I was like, man, if they actually did the right thing here, it would have probably went a much better way. But Stephen A. Smith dug a hole for himself early. And when he got this new contract, that's why I'm saying everybody focused on the number of how much he getting, 100 million and all that. And Stephen A. sitting there bragging like, yeah, I got 100 million, but at what cost? You got more work, more assignments. They're spreading you out thin, and you're going to be more exhausted, more tired, more just drained of energy, the whole nine. And only your kids, they'll get a chance to enjoy it, but you won't get a chance to enjoy anything. And all he knows is to show up to work. And it's like, dude, everybody like, he's a hard worker. No, he don't. He just will show up to work on time and get there and work. He's one of those guys. It's like the guy getting credit just because he come to work on time. Like, man, I've had perfect attendance for 10 years. It's like, okay. I don't get an award for that. I don't get no credit for that. Well, we hire you to come to work at this time. So you're supposed to be here. Why should I be clapping that you actually showed up to do what you agreed to do? I mean, but I ain't miss a day. You're not supposed to miss a day. I'm not paying you to miss a day. I'm paying you to work. So Stephen A. won't credit just for showing up to work. Like he's doing something that's nobody else is doing. He is so great. Stephen A. Smith, the great. He is just so outstanding. He's unassuming. He's just one of a kind. This man is so great. And all of his greatness, he talked about what everybody else talked about. Now, he wasn't a great writer. He wasn't a great analyst, reporter. So what was he great at? Con man. Conning people. He can con anybody into believing they are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, when people look around and they say to themselves, this is what I mean, or this is what I'm talking about. When they say that kind of stuff, you know what they really mean? They don't care. That's all it means, that they don't care. Stephen A. Smith is a con artist. An absolute con artist. He admitted it in his own book. He used to con people into believing he was something that he wasn't. But when it came down to the actual test, he failed. Now, why did he fail? Because it was clear he was not the right guy. Stuart Scott was a better journalist than him around his pinky finger. Stephen A's just gonna come in and make it look like he's working and he's doing all this stuff. All he's doing is repeating stuff that other people are saying. And he's saying a whole bunch of nothing. The studio's paying him the money because he built up a name on First Take battling Skip Bayless. They couldn't afford to lose Skip and Shannon. Well, not Shannon, but Stephen A. Plus, Stephen A is controllable. He doesn't have a combative attitude whatsoever when it comes to bosses. White boss say jump, he already in the air. He ain't asking no questions. Don't you even think about him asking a question. So everyone pretty much got up, followed everyone down the sidelines. They start making these observations about who is doing what, how this should be done, all these narratives. And all of these people are enamored by what is to come. Stephen A. Smith sat in the back, watched other people do their shows, basically mimicked them, and have you noticed he don't do anything that First Take used to do back in 2016? Remember how he used to talk all reckless and loud? No. Yeah. He don't do all that anymore. Now he tries to act like he's the wise owl and just be making little funny snarks and all of this. Well, before, condescending, tearing people down, everybody's a bum. He talked just like someone that was online. But the company told him to, well, everyone's got this new position, so you need to fit into the new position. You gotta conform. LeBron James couldn't stop a man that was ready for retirement. Dirk Nowitzki was about ready for retirement. He was at a point where he can't do this no more. That didn't matter to them. Nope, we need more. More Dirk. But he can't do no more. I don't care, get the ball to Dirk. That's the attitude. So if that's your attitude, then you know how this is going to end up.
Can I start off with your name?
Yes. My name is Kevin.
What can I get for you?
I would like codfish dinner, two-piece cod.
Two-piece cod dinner?
Yes.
Fries and coleslaw, okay?
No, I want broccoli and mashed potatoes.
Okay.
And then I want a large Coke.
A large Coke?
And large chocolate shake.
I'm sorry, what's the last thing you said?
Large chocolate shake.
So no Coke?
The Coke also.
Okay. Anything else for you then?
No, that's it.
Gonna move forward.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, some good eating, boy. Oh, you can eat. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, you can eat.
2422.
Coming right up. Thank you. Alrighty. Now, many of us will have our disagreements with how we proceed going forward in society, right? We'll all do this. We'll all project, and we'll all have our own principles, our own thoughts about it. But Stephen A. Smith, this was already negotiated in his contract. They were phasing him out anyway, but it became very rapid with his beef with LeBron. Before that altercation took place, when he told LeBron James on ESPN First Take, as a father, stop this. His job was over right then and there. He was done right then and there. Once he told LeBron James, as a father, stop this, he was out. They just can't, ESPN can't fire him. And believe me, he tried to get Stephen A. fired years prior. This is why Stephen A. really don't like LeBron. He tried to get Stephen A. fired before, years ago. But ESPN is like, we can't fire Stephen A. We'll just tell him to go light on you and leave you alone. But believe me, he's gonna listen to us. So that's why he was all kissing LeBron ass all them years, knowing he hated the man the whole time. Now that he can let loose, now he's just saying everything we've been saying. Of course, Detlef Shrimp is better than him. Detlef Shrimp! Now, I know. Now, Stephen A. gets up, he says the same old stick every morning. The show is dead. Like, who watches First Take? Only people watch it out of repetition. It's just like finding people that watch Gil's Arena. Like, you're gonna have to go far and few to see if somebody's gonna lower their brain cells to watch a show like that. The topic is about absolutely nothing. They're gonna be like, who's the better free throw shooter, Steph Curry or Gilbert Arenas? Well, of course I was the best. But since Steph was on the show, he's the best. I'm biased. So, of course, it's just slop. It's a real sloppy show. I feel bad for Kenya now, because they're the ones trying to keep this show a buck and keep it moving, but it's terrible. Kobe told the NBA what they were doing in Miami. Now, when they did the Big Three in Miami, and Carmelo decided not to go along with that whole thing that went down, David Stern was like, I feel you. But they want to do this. The league feel like we need a boost. All of you guys are getting older. KG, y'all end of y'all rope. If you didn't have the Colorado situation, meaning that if Kobe Bryant did not have the Colorado situation.
Hello, Kevin?
Yep.
Here you go.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. He would have had more championships had that not happened. Had he been able to get Chris Paul, I don't know if they win a championship. A lot of people say they do, but we don't know because Chris Paul kept getting injured. He went to the Clippers and they were #1, and then they get to the playoffs, Chris Paul is hurt. They're the best team in the West, Lob City. They can't be stopped, and then they would lose in the playoffs. Hit the like button, y'all. And don't forget, we got something fun for y'all today on the members. So on the memberships, you're going to see it today. That's something fun for y'all. Gonna have a little fun, you know what I mean? A little fun. You know, everybody's so serious nowadays. Nobody like to have fun no more. Like, have some fun. Get out, enjoy yourself. It's a celebration. Enjoy yourself. So now, you have all of these different people coming together to make these analogies and soliloquies and all that stuff. So it don't really throw me left or right or anyway. You know, I always feel that if I'm going to be empowered, I'm going to be doing the empowering. What's up? I see Alexander, our member, in here. Yep, they said bad luck was his daddy, CP injury. But see, Stephen A. Smith has made a living out of doing stuff like that. But they're going to push him to the political field. He still wants to get this nighttime talk show. So now he got the Stephen A. Smith show where he can have a host and basically create his own show, because now nobody's spending money for the talk shows. Stephen A. Smith wanted Jimmy Kimmel's spot for years. He was trying to worm NBC into putting him, or ABC or whatever, to put him into that seat. He wanted that. Where he was on ESPN, he was trying to get Kimmel's seat, saying he would do it for less money, he could bring in the same amount of people. And he wanted that nighttime, like the Tonight Show and all of that. He wanted to do all of that, late night. Yeah, so he tried to worm Kimmel out of the job. And they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't take a chance on putting him there because he had a nighttime show, but he was saying that he learned from that because it was at a time slot. Nobody really knew about it, that quite frankly. And the show wasn't bad. It's just that there was no build-up. No marketing plan was off. And, you know, he played a brother role. What we mean by playing the brother is, you know, he had the little fro out, you know, he was swagged out. He had Kobe on his show. He had AI on his show. You know, they really got behind him because Allen Iverson got behind him. Kobe was from Philly area. Iverson played for Philly. And so he came up in the Philadelphia Inquirer. You know, that's why So the brothers. They know me. I'm for the brothers. Now, Scoop Jackson was more for the brothers than anybody. Then they drove Scoop out of the picture and started bringing in all these outside ass kissers. The guy from the Golden State Warriors, you know, he comes in. His name Ryan something. He came in there. I seen a lot of other people start coming through the door who don't usually, you know, get that light. Scoop was everything. Scoop was everything Stephen A wasn't. He was going to give us the real. And he really dealt with the teams. And Stephen A was just stealing from Scoop, to be honest. He was stealing from Scoop. And he was thinking he was big shot because he's like, I know because I talk to the bosses. No. Coaches like Larry Brown want to get something in the papers, but don't want it to stick to him. They're going to come to you. All these owners and coaches, he going to push through you. Whenever he wanted to say something to Allen, he going to say it to you so you can put it in the papers. And you was supposed to be Allen's guy, but you flipped on him and took that route. There's so much wrong out there, you can't gauge what's right. That's why the case of right and wrong is always a skew. When it's a skew, you can't really get to the same spot you want to get to. So before LeBron and Stephen A had that incident courtside, he wasn't even supposed to be there because he doesn't get to call LeBron games like that. That's why he was off work sitting courtside at the game, because he was there watching the Knicks. They in LA, not New York, where he lives. In New York is where he lives. He work out there. So he's there to watch the game, and his friend got a ticket for him. So he's sitting courtside. And he ain't saying nothing to LeBron because he know that at that point, they don't like each other. It's a big problem. Stephen A. contract, the day his contract got announced that he's getting ready to sign a $100 million deal, this incident happens. And then it happens to be recorded. And it was like a setup to make him look weak in the media. Now he's got to do something to turn this around. Because now he already knows, in part of his new deal, they're going to be removing him from NBA Countdown. They're removing him. All of this stuff is in his deal. He didn't get fired from it. He was already being removed from it. That's why he didn't care. He played solitaire because he didn't care. This is it. He knows this is his last hoorah. They might call him back for the finals. Who knows? But they doubt it, depending on who's in there. They don't really want him, the NBA. They was like, we don't like the way his media tactics are. You're supposed to be lifting up the sport, and you're not. And they phase guys out. The only reason he was still around the first time was Michael Wilbon. Wilbon came in there and turned things around. Wilbon was like, oh, I'm not doing this unless Stephen A's here. It doesn't make sense if Stephen A's not here. So they put Stephen A in there. Mike Wilbon did that. And says, if I want to talk, I want a good guy that can set me up, that knows how to work with me. And that's Stephen. Now, Stephen A. Smith is not going to complain about Kenny Smith because Kenny Smith is his brother. He probably okayed the decision. It was like, oh, that's a great decision. Kenny the Jet Smith is a PC guy. Kenny the Jet Smith probably got more money than Charles Barkley and Shaq. Y'all just don't know it because Kenny stayed quiet. He like Byron Allen. Kenny has invested in a whole lot of things. But he's also the PC guy on the show. Kenny he never say nothing really controversial. He's super sensitive too. But he's a PC guy. He's not going to do anything against the company. And he's Mr. Positivity and all this energy. So, yeah, they razzed him for it, because they was like, oh, man, you broke my heart, Fredo. You took this NBA countdown job. But everybody knew weeks ago he had gotten his job. Everybody thought Perk was fired. I'm like, they not firing Kendrick Perkins. And I'm like, Stephen A. don't really want the job. As I tried to tell you, he is transitioning to go more and more into politics. He does not want that position. Well, I'll tell you what. You love Disney World, right? You love anything you love. Imagine something you love, right? And imagine doing something you love for 20 years straight. It's not going to be the thing you love anymore. It's going to be the thing that you used to love back 20 years ago. Now it's become something tedious that you do every day. '69 house got burglarized. Those be inside jobs, man. Let me tell you about Hollywood, man. Look, even now they talking about it. These two people's homes were robbed last night. Rick Hilton was home at the time. Everyone is fine. People, and these celebrities, most of these break-ins, let me tell you what's going on. A lot of it is hitting the tax and insurance money. They want something gone. They want to sell it to somebody. They want to move it. They'll move it. They say they were robbed and get insurance money because it's insured. So it's an insurance scam. They done sold something, or they don't want to look like they broke, so they cash in on their insurance. And they got these rich homes. You think they don't have security? And as far as 6ix9ine, come on. That dude did so many, like, don't nobody even think about him no more. So what else would he be doing it for? Attention. No, they don't. Well, the majority of people out there, they say all these different things and it never seemed to come true. That's right. More than half of the people in the world don't even know or try to find out if they have any position whatsoever in the world to do or say anything about any position. Stephen A. Smith is a cog in the machine. There's so many different elements taking place when it comes to, let's say, living conditions. You ever see somebody with great, outstanding living conditions, right? And then it turns upside down in a matter of minutes? I mean, seriously. In a matter of minutes, everything turns upside down on top of his head. And then you ask yourself, how did we get here? Meaning that this cog in the machine that just so happens to be Stephen A. Smith, right? This cog is holding up the pipeline. So now he's finally removing himself after causing so much disturbance and uncomfortableness all these years. So to see him gone makes from NBA, whatever, and you replaced him with another guy who's probably the same age as him. It's crazy. I feel the show should have gotten younger. Kenny the Jet Smith is going to bring a lot of positive energy there, but I say you got to get younger because it doesn't make sense. And the reason we say, hey, this doesn't make a lot of sense is because you see things like he said, I know I'm in these YouTube streets. There's just so much people could do before they have to start making changes and adjust to the new decisions that they're making. So that's all. It's just new changes. Well, they wanted to. They're all about Wicked right now. So Wicked is the new thing that everybody's talking about. So not like real people, but I mean like NBC. NBC is more into the rainbow. That whole peacock is a rainbow, all those colors. So it's all about Wicked. It's all about man, there's so much going on. People just don't, they don't get it. If you knew Stephen A. Smith and what he was about, then you would understand what the scenario looked like, what his contract details. You wouldn't have those questions. That's what I was saying. If you'd have listened to us when we were telling you this, you wouldn't even be questioning it. Oh yeah, do not fall asleep watching Peacock, because they're going to play about 15,000 movies you did not choose to watch. And all my dreams are messed up. I've been fighting Pennywise and dinosaurs. I'm like, how did this happen? You know me. Now you arguing. Uh-oh. Now you want to argue. Rod want to get in there and argue. Yeah, the mashed potatoes seem a little hard for me. Well, there are a lot of different elements that come along with decisions. Mm-mm. Because if Stephen A. would have did that, he would have did it on his own. He already knew what was happening with him in this situation. It's because Stephen A. Smith knows what's going on. Stephen A. Smith contract. Come on. If we're looking at that, his contract was boosted by Shannon Sharp. Let's be honest. So now he's fighting with black women. Jamel Hill called him out, and then he wanted to respond to it. So well, Jamel Hill went viral about it. See, when you go viral about statements, even though they're true,
so people are going to be experiencing all over the world, and not everyone can go and see it.
no matter how true it is, it can hurt people in their nature. Like, for instance, let's listen to Jamel Hill try to explain. That's my baby from Detroit. My Jamel Hill. You tell him, baby. You tell that mean old Stephen A. who didn't have my baby back.
Talking about behind nobody's back, because Carrie has talked about this experience herself on other platforms, and I believe on her own platform she has done it as well. Is Carrie had a very difficult time being a host on that show.
She did.
Obviously, very competitive type of show. An executive at ESPN used to joke time and call and say that First Take was the show of competitive talking. And it's true. It's like there's an aggressiveness to that show that is very different than maybe some of the other debate shows that you might see on TV. And Carrie was having a hard time fitting in because of the dynamics on that show and working with very strong personalities, both on air and off air, Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. And there were so many days.
Y'all see my baby.
And again, it's Carrie's call what she wants to divulge to people about her time on that show. But see, hey, I think at the very least it is gross hyperbole to pretend as if during this time that you was just laying the cake down and Carrie was able to walk over it. It was, I'm not saying, look, I'm just saying this as somebody who was on the sideline and trying to be a supportive friend. In fact, one of the hallmark stories that Carrie and I often tell about how our relationship got to be as tight as it was is because one day I had just moved into my apartment, or I hadn't been there I just moved in, but I hadn't been there that long. I had an apartment in downtown Hartford. Because when Carrie moved, I moved to Bristol, I think after Carrie did. And so I was joining what was then called Numbers Never Lie, which as many of you know, eventually became His and Hers and that kind of thing. And so I was going, I needed some things for my apartment. And so Carrie was like, I'll pick you up. We'll go to, like Pottery Barn, one of those kind of places, Pier 1. I think it was Pier 1 in Portsmouth. We'll go to those places, get you some stuff so you can like finally furnish your place. I said, cool. Carrie picked me up to go shopping. She had 2 styrofoam cups in the car. And she was like, I brought this for you. And I take a sip and it's a mimosa, right? And I was like, okay, now at this point it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm really surprised. I was like, oh, we drinking? Like what is going on here? Because this is very unusual. And I was like, what's going on? And her very next sentence to me was, oh, I'm quitting my job on Monday. She was talking about First Take. And I said, wait, what? And I was like, okay, what is going on this show? And so she started to reveal some things that were happening behind the scenes on the show, where she did not feel supported, where she felt very isolated. She felt like she didn't have a voice, and she was miserable, and she was gonna quit. So, again, it's up to Carrie to tell specific experiences or whatever she wants to share about that. That is what she told me as a friend. And naturally, I was heartbroken because I want to see Carrie do well. I want to see Carrie succeed. I know that given her talent, that she can take this show that's already at a high level to even higher level. I know this. And so I listened. I did my best to not necessarily tell her what to do, but to tell her that she had what it took to make it work. And I'll say prior to that happening, there were things that I would see on air that I was bothered by. As someone who was a host of her own show at that point, and admittedly, yes, my relationship with Michael Smith was a lot different than hers with Skip and Stephen A. They didn't know each other. They didn't have the backstory of being friends. It was different. Mike and I were for real friends. And so our relationship on camera was light, banter. Yeah, we would go at each other, but it was in a playful brother and sister type of way.
Yeah, you tried to sleep with him.
Love the show. They didn't have that kind of relationship on First Take. Some of it was that, and Skip made it very known, because he set the tone for the show, is that Skip had a mentality, if you ain't with us, you against us. And he looked at every show as competition. And not the kind of healthy competition that helps people get better or that encourages you to, like, oh, I see what they're doing on show X. We gonna meet their level or exceed it. Not in that healthy kind of way that drives you, that's ambition, but in a way that's real unhealthy. That is how he saw other shows. That's the mentality that he gave off, and that permeated throughout the rest of the people on the show. And I would notice sometimes on air the way that they would talk to Carrie, the way they would ignore her, dismiss her. And I thought it was just really unbecoming. And I said that to her, and I felt bad that I said that to her, just because she's already trying to figure things out at ESPN. The last thing that she needs is somebody else coming in and saying, hey, I'm noticing that your 2 co-hosts be constantly disrespecting you on air. Just something that I noticed. Like, you already in the trenches. You don't need to hear from other voices about how things are going. And so I noticed those things. And when the domestic violence situation happened, getting back to that, which is what initially set Beetle off, and made her not a fan of Stephen A for life. It made her if Stephen A got 10 haters, Michelle Beadle is 1. If Stephen A got 2 haters, Michelle Beadle is 1. If Stephen A has no haters, Michelle Beadle is dead. Like, it's that seems to be the energy that she gives off when it comes to Stephen A. Smith. And so when that happened, and I went to bat for Carrie because I thought they put her in a bad position on the show as he's saying these comments, and there's already these tension between these 3 people. And I went to bat for Carrie publicly. Skip Bayless stopped talking to me after that. He sent me a email. I don't know if I still have it. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. He sent me an email, basically, frankly, sounding a lot like how Stephen A. sounded in his response to Carrie. reminding me how much he had done for me, reminding me how I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for him, feeling betrayed because I had the nerve to stick up for a woman that I felt y'all constantly disrespected on that show. And I have not spoken one word to Skip Bayless since. And this would have probably been, I don't know, 2013, 2014. And I was like, oh, okay, it's like that. Well, I guess we weren't much of friends at all. But that's what I was telling you about, that mindset that Skip had. And it was very much, if you ain't for us, you against us. And so, Carrie went through a lot on that show. And so when I'm assuming that some of her response to all of this, when she's like, the lack of support that I felt like I sometimes didn't receive, it's rooted in that. And perhaps that's a conversation that Carrie and Stephen A need to have. Maybe it's a conversation they've already had. I don't know. That's grown folks' business. But I do know, as her friend, she did not feel supported. I know that 1,000%. I know it as well as I know my name. She didn't. And perhaps he felt like he was supporting her. I don't know. But however he felt like he was showing up for her, she didn't feel that. And that's her experience. Let's get to it.
Now, that was her experience. You heard my baby lay it down. When my baby lay it down, she lay it down. My Jamel Hill said, I'm gonna lay this down. That's my baby. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Always the simp. Now, of course, Stephen A feels like he's the victim.
Straight shooter with Steve. Because obviously there's a lot of stuff just for my YouTube channel. The opportunity to speak about things that I wanted to speak about extemporaneously off the cuff, just to get stuff off my chest. I thought that it's the right thing to do, since so many people talk so much stuff. And I've been gotten on, from everybody, from family members.
Hit that like button up.
A whole bunch of other people, because I don't clap back enough. And I can assure you that I'm not going to make a habit of that. I just love the idea of being able to do it when I want to. And having the luxury of being able to do just that. And that was my former colleague at First Take, Kerry Champion, and what she had to say on a video that she posted. But not because of that video today. I said what I had to say.
I said that already.
It's because Jamel Hill, my other former colleague at ESPN, I think now does work for The Athletic. Obviously, she's been gone for a few years. She has felt compelled to insert herself into the proceedings. She says that she did so because her name was brought up, but her name was brought up by Kerry. It wasn't brought up by me. But nevertheless, she felt the need to address the situation and to articulate her truth and what was true and what she would call BS on something about and all of this other stuff. Well, this ain't a soap opera. There was once a soap opera called As the World Turns. This ain't that. I'm following General Hospital, of course, Young and the Restless. My man Eric Brady replaced Victor Newman on Young and the Restless. My man Maurice Bernard replaced Sonny Corinthos on General Hospital. I like soap operas. Don't bother me.
Oh, I'll knock that feminist right out of her.
Expected since
Be
I
like, bah!
have an official
It's gonna be, you want some Kool-Aid,
I
daddy?
involved myself in my own damn YouTube show. But it seems necessary. Because people are out there talking as if there's fact. When in actuality, it's their opinion. And I'm the one with the facts.
So, Stephen A's arrogance tells you once again he is still on that mountain perch. And he think he runs everything. He the one with the facts. They all got opinions. He the one with the facts. Look. Got the hand up and everything. I'm the one with the facts. Now, before we get to his facts, let's unpack what she was saying. Carrie Champion, who was on the show, I guess she don't have any facts. I need to hit the treadmill again. Yeah, I am getting a little handles, you know, I don't know. I guess I could hit the treadmill again. The boy is solid as a rock, but yeah. Treadmills do well wonders for him. So I hit the treadmill. You right. You know, I'm just eating. Getting my grub on. Molly against him, Beatles against him, Carrie Champion against him, Jamel Hill against. It's just like it's a whole bunch of Jasmine Crockett. You know, you got all these women. If it's a woman, he always ready for the battle. LeBron James, you know, it's like all these women together, and he's all ready for the battle. Yeah, Whitlock, all these women. You know I'm always at the best facility. You know it. You already know. It's that R-N-S, real see no lit. It's that real see no lit. It's that see no for life. Yeah. Yeah. That is the craziest statement I ever saw in my life. This dude said, how about them Cowboys? We back, and they just played the Raiders. Wow. Y'all played the Raiders. Wow. Oh my God. We back, Cito. We just beat the Raiders. That's like somebody beating the Indiana Pacers right now. Yo, Cito, we just beat the Pacers. They need to fire Tom Brady for being an owner. I don't think nobody's getting fired. Pete Carroll shouldn't be fired. He don't have a quarterback yet that he won. They tried to had his quarterback Geno there so they can get their guy in there. Tom Brady's son is going to make the team. When he comes available, they're going to draft Jack Brady. Jack Brady is going to be a Raiders quarterback. That's right. Tom Brady's son, Jack Brady, is coming in there. So that's why they're not really committing themselves just yet. But they're getting themselves in position to make a run. It's just going to take them 2 to 3 years. And then they'll be a powerhouse. The Patriots are the most fraudulent 9-2 team in the NFL. Don't fall for that. Don't you fall for that. That's Tom Brady's son. You ain't lying. They do need to check Stephen A. Smith ASAP. That's one thing I'll say about Stephen A. Smith. You're going to never hear no rumor about him and no white girl. Now, if you hear that, he done got down with the white girl, then you know he went all the way. Stephen A. Smith went all the way to that side. No, he always had a sister. Because white women thought he was ugly. Sister's only the one dealt with him. Because they said, well, at least he got a job. At least he got a job. All right, here we go.
So
let's get this news.
since Jamel Hill wanted to insert herself into the proceedings and go there,
Yeah, let's go there.
providing her perspective, which no doubt should be respected, at least the parts that are true, or that are simply a perspective as opposed to being disguised as facts when they are not.
Ooh.
I think I'll take a turn at doing it myself.
Okay, well, let's see it.
So, to recap, Michelle Beadle, former colleague at ESPN, who went on the airwaves and said she prays for my demise, my fall, which everybody has universally excoriated as well as they should. Not that it would affect her with her trifling self anyway, in any way. But it was right, it was nice of them to bring that up, to say that that was beyond the pale, because I certainly don't root for her demise. I don't root for her at all. I was proud that she said she actually prayed, because I didn't know she prayed. With that being said, because she came at me the way that she came at me, for yet the umpteenth time, spanning 11 years, I finally decided to speak up for myself. But not before Kerry Champion, my former colleague at ESPN, decided to go to do a video to post on social media. No call to me, no conversation with me. I was completely blindsided by what she put out there. And I had to find out about it in real time like everybody else. Matter of fact, my nephew was the one that told me about it. Didn't even know. But to remind y'all of what transpired, here's what Kerry Champion had said about me in the aftermath of Michelle Beadle's diatribe, which I hadn't responded to immediately. And Kerry somewhat took umbrage with that, but it was really more about Representative Jasmine Crockett, Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama, and of course, Kerry herself and Jamel Hill. These are all according to Kerry Champion's words. Take a listen.
Stephen A. I played that Michelle Beadle clip for one reason and one reason only. I'm old enough to remember being on that show and getting in trouble based on some comments you said about women and whether or not they should know their place when it comes to abuse or non-abuse. Ray Rice comes to mind. Not going to get into the details of all of that. But Beetle just came for you yet again, like she did when I worked at ESPN. I wonder, do you have that same smoke for her that you have for Jasmine Crockett, that you have for Michelle Obama, that you sometimes display for me and Jamel Hill? Do you have that same smoke? I'm sick of it. Keep the same energy. And I call you and I root for you and I say, hey, I got your back, I'm happy for you. But you keep that same energy, sir, for everybody.
Here was my response. You just said, Kelly, you called me, you root for me. Why would you root for somebody that called you out in Jamel Hill, who's your good friend? Because it's never happened. Never. I've shown you nothing but love. What are you talking about? You were hired at First Take in large part because of me. You stayed as long as you stayed and had the support of the people that supported you because of me. Do I need to get bosses to confirm that I'm telling the truth? You know I can. When we see the diverse people that come on First Take, black people, women, the list goes on and on. Who did that? That wasn't happening when Skip was there. That was me. What are you talking about? When have I spoken against you? When have I thrown shade against you? When did that happen? That is a lie. Yes, it was. But needless to say, eventually others have to get involved. Some for clicks, generate revenue. I'm not accusing Jamel Hill of that. I respect her too much. But that don't make her right with what she has now decided to open her mouth and say. So before I address Jamel Hill, let me show you what she now entered the proceedings to add to the mix. Take it away.
I have always credited Stephen A. Smith with the fact that when I was a columnist in Orlando and Stephen A. had a show called Quite Frankly on ESPN, he had a segment on the show called The Back Page, which he purposely and intentionally made as a space for Black columnists. So I was on it, Rob Parker was on it, a lot of people were on it who were Black opinion makers, opinionists during that time. And it is very true that being able to be on Quite Frankly and to be, sort of seen nationally was definitely something that helped me in my career. Make no mistake about it. And I'm not trying to discredit anything that you have done for me. But you saying that you helped Carrie get to First Take, I know that unequivocally not to be true. And I'm gonna just say what it is. Do I think that you put in a good word here and there for Carrie? I'm not saying that you didn't, but you made it seem like you scouted her at the Tennis Channel. You brought her over to ESPN and that's how she got First Take. And I can tell you 1,000%, the man that did that, his name is Jerry Madeline. You and I both know him. Jerry Madeline was somebody whose job at ESPN was to scout talent. He was the one who scouted Carrie from the Tennis Channel, if I'm not mistaken. And for Carrie to get that job was miraculous in a lot of ways. It spoke to how well her audition went. I knew, based off my own conversations with Skip, that Carrie wasn't his first choice. So you were completely telling him the truth about that. But you didn't know Carrie from a can of paint. So to then suddenly reframe this story like you're the reason that Carrie Champion wound up on First Take, bro, I got nothing against you, but I'm just calling bullshit on that. I'm just saying what it is.
What I love is how former people from ESPN want to always act like they're the paragons of truth and virtue and that they're telling the truth and the rest of us are lost. Even those of us who are still in the damn building. Like we don't know. Calling bullshit. And I'm going to keep myself PC today. I promise a couple of people. I'm trying not to cuss today. Okay? Be nice. Because before I say anything, I want everybody out there to know I respect the hell out of Jemele Hill. I respect her work. I respect the professionalism that she displayed throughout her years in this industry, and by the way, that she continues to display for the most part. I am not insulted remotely by any perspective that she has over this whole thing. She is entitled to her opinion. She's earned it. I have never, nor would I ever, disrespect Jemele Hill. But that doesn't mean that you get to create your own facts. You can call it bullshit all you want to. Respectfully, the one that's spewing bullshit is you. You know for a fact that that did not happen with Kerry. Well, how would you know? I thought you were going from First Take. I thought you didn't know Kerry when she first arrived. I thought you didn't have a relationship initially, that it was something that you had cultivated. How would you know?
She told your stupid ass Jerry was the guy. So if she didn't know Kerry, she knew Jerry, the guy who actually scouted her. Why do you say such dumbass things and act like you don't know? Y'all see this? This is incredible.
You don't. You know what story she may have told you, but you don't know the whole story. So allow me to educate you. Number one, here's how it went down. Jerry Madelon is an executive at ESPN, was there for 27 years before departing in 2015. He is absolutely the one who recruited Kerry Champion. I don't know, did I say I recruited her? You said, quote, it made it sound like, I'm sorry, we're both journalists in this industry, not just personalities. You don't get to say it sounded like, did I say that or not? I did not. I never said I recruited Kerry. Why would I recruit from the Tennis Channel? I never said that. That's where she was before she arrived at ESPN. I didn't know who she was. Jerry recruited her. So here's how that goes. Jerry recruited her, and then the VP for original content overseeing First Take was a gentleman by the name of Jamie Horowitz, who was over First Take, who was Skip's boss, who ultimately collaborated with Skip to bring me on board, who was made aware of Kerry Champion by Jerry Madelon,
who left the company and went to Fox to escape a sexual harassment lawsuit that eventually caught up to him in Fox, and Fox fired him. And Gilbert Arenas want this guy to manage him. Continue.
and as a result of him hearing about Kerry Champion from Jerry Madelon, met with her not once but twice. Jerry Madelon was interested in having her. Jamie Horowitz was interested in having her. And who did Jamie Horowitz come to make the decision? You're looking at him. Because Skip was running First Take, but Skip had his reservations. So it was not only up to me to decide if Kerry Champion would be on First Take, It was up to me to convince Skip because he was the ultimate say. Kerry Champion wasn't going to convince Skip. You wasn't going to convince Skip, Jamel. Jamie Horowitz couldn't convince Skip. He needed me to go to Skip, which means I first had to support Kerry Champion, and then after that, I had to convince Skip to do so. That's what I said. Encapsulating it by saying she wouldn't have been the first take if it were not for me. See how that makes sense? By the way, in case you want to say it's bullshit again, and I'm not cussing, I'm just quoting you. I have a quote here. It's Jerry Madeline. Thank you again for the call. If it helps you with your commentary, please be clear. My role with Kerry Champion was similar to that with Stuart Scott. I found him and counseled him, but I was not his day-to-day person. Jerry Madeline. You have his number, Jamel. Call him. See, we talk. This is me. I have names. I have numbers. You need his number? I know you got it, but if you need it, I'll text it to you. Jerry Madeline discovered Kerry, recruited her, sent her to Jamie. Do you need me to tell you where Jamie and Kerry met? In Queens? US Open? You need me to tell you that? Do you need me to tell you the date and the time? Jamie Horowitz came to me to say to me, how you feel? Do you feel this way? Do you support her? I need your help with Skip. Sure. Just checking, since you said it was bullshit.
Woo! Stephen A. coming out with the guns. Now, here's the thing, though. You know, I love when Stephen A. get all fired up. He all riled up. They got him all riled up. I need a phone stand. What do you think the phone is on now, buddy? It's on a phone stand. It's actually one for the camera. Like, this is a big Hollywood camera stand. But I can put an adapter on here so it can fit cell phones. As you can see, my PC's in the back. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching this and I'm alarmed. Jamie Horowitz, who I thought Jamie was cool, had a bunch of women claim sexual misconduct on ESPN when he worked there. He left the show going over to Fox. He basically took First Take and everything with him going over there when he built Undisputed, First Things First, all of those shows. Jamie Horowitz. Jamie Horowitz was fired mainly because of those lawsuits came back to get him, so Fox had to let him go because they didn't know anything about him. So now, since he was out of the picture and they let him go, so now that they let him go for sexual harassment, Jamie Horowitz now works with Shannon Sharpe. He's the one that brought Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed, and once he was fired, he was managing Shannon Sharpe. So Gilbert Arenas claims that Jamie Horowitz wants to manage him now. I met Jamie. He seemed like a very nice individual. But that's the guy he's swearing by right now. Said, Jamie asked me to help him. And that's pretty much what happened. I believe Stephen A. Smith's version of what happens. I think that the way he said and what she said was that you made it sound as if you are the reason that he got on First Take. that's 100% cap. When she finds out now that she's wrong, he was recruited by, you know, by Jerry. So now he wants to get clear, but he knew what he was doing. He was manipulating the public to make it believe he was the one that went out and scouted her and brought her in. When actually, she went through 2 other people before Stephen A. Smith was asked to go talk to Skip about getting her on the show. Now, this still does not take away, doesn't answer the question of when she was there, she didn't feel protected at all by her co-host, meaning you and Skip Bayless. So, he didn't answer that.
Those are facts. Oh, by the way, how can I possibly forget? Let me not stop it. Jerry Madelon also got off the phone with Jamie Horowitz 2 hours ago.
Okay.
And I said to Jamie Horowitz, the former VP for original content for ESPN, who now runs Omaha Production, who, by the way, lives in California and is more than happy to take your call to reconfirm what I said. I said to him everything that I just said to you, and I said, am I telling the truth or am I lying about anything? He said, you are 100% factually correct. Now, who do you think the audience is going to believe? You who said, it sounded like you said, Stephen. Or Stephen who says, Jerry Madelon, Jamie Horowitz, names, times, dates. You see, here's the problem. And this is why I feel compelled to address this. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. I certainly, and you are absolutely right, Jamel, in your soliloquy on your podcast when you talked about how Skip had brothers and sisters on the phone, on the show all the time because it was a spinoff to some degree of PTI to a certain degree. But you had Michael Wilbon, who was black, and you had Tony Kornheiser, who was white, and Skip always wanted to debate folks from opposite ethnicity. I know that's true. The difference is that you had folks contributing to the show while he was in search for the right partner. The people I brought on board are actual partners of the show. They ain't in search of it. They're a part of the show. Ryan Clark, Marcus Spears, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp before that, Michael Irvin before that, a Dominique Foxworth, a Kimberly Martin, a Mina Kimes, a Dan Orlovsky, a Jeff Saturday, a Mad Dog Russo, a Damian Woody, a Louis Riddick, a Jay Williams, a Kendrick Perkins, a Monica McNutt, an Andrea Carter, a Shanae Ogumake. All handpicked for the purposes of First Take. Which brings me home to the biggest reason why I'm making these points. If you were at ESPN Jamel Hill, it would be you too. I've shown you nothing but respect. Always. I never talked about your business.
Yeah, you
I
did.
never implied or publicized what happened with you in SportsCenter with Michael.
It's in your goddamn book. It's in your book. Jamel Hill and Michael Smith got the ESPN 6 o'clock show. It was supposed to be your show. And you said something stupid on the air, and they got the spot. And you were bitter about it.
I never talked about how you ultimately ended up out the door. leaving of your own accord or with their assistance and being bought out. I don't talk about those things. You know why, Jamel Hill? Because I would never drink. I don't care what anybody on ESPN says about you. That's y'all business and ain't mine. There's a lot more that goes on with a multitude of stories. I say nothing. I've been in this business for 30 years. Tell me when I have talked about my colleagues or my contemporaries without being attacked first. Tell me when it's happened. Tell me when I've initiated friction and vitriol and all of that, when it happened. I've never done that. Tell me when you picked up the phone and you've called me to have a conversation with me or you've needed my help and I've ever said no. Same thing with Kerry. No, I'm not some hero. No, somebody getting hired, oh my goodness, it's about me and I got them through the door. No, I'm just a black dude that's in the position that I'm in, that has put my career in jeopardy, fighting on behalf of African Americans within the walls of ESPN and outside.
Lie. If your job was on the line, buddy, if your job was on the line, ain't no way in hell, Stephen A. Smith, your job, that's the biggest cap I've ever heard. I would be, man, you just, shoot. Boy, I can't wait to get his number. I'm going to get your nephew's number. I'm calling them up. I'm going to put your punk ass uncle on the phone. Put him on the phone. I'm going to be like, look, man, you a damn lie. Ain't nobody black or white. Your job on the line and you finna put up a fight? Hell no. Who in the world did you fall for when your job was on the line? Please name it. That's cap. You ain't put your life on the line. You ain't nothing. Shannon Sharp was out the door. You come on now. Come on. Shannon been good for us now. Look at them ratings, man. Come on now. Do you want to go out with him? No. Shannon, I'm going to miss you, brother. Your ass ain't going on the line for nobody. You ain't going on the line. You would not do anything of the sort. Stop lying. This dude is so much cap. That dude is Captain America right now. That boy is super cap. Ain't no way in hell you didn't put your career on the line for brothers. Man, ain't no damn way. If they would have said they was getting rid of your ass, you was out the door. I hope you ain't talking about Ray Rice. Because no, you wasn't putting your career on the line for Ray Rice, and you damn sure didn't. You opened your mouth because you ain't think nothing bad about it. Like, man, come on, man. That's just a little tap. I mean, she all right. They still together. What's the problem here? Little tap. He only hit her once. Shoot. They act like he beat her down. What's the problem here? It was quiet on the set. He was the only one talking. They went to commercial break. Next thing you know, boy, he come back. Stephen A. is suspended for 2 weeks. But his comments on the air about Ray Rice. Right, you ain't put your career on the line for Ray Rice. Ray Rice didn't work for ESPN. The NFL, stupid. You wasn't in there when he was fighting for his case and won and got his like $20-30 million out of his deal, and the NFL didn't even let him back. They double jeopardy the man. I stood up for people. We need names, dates, when you put your career on the line. Your career was never on the line for no brothers. This is what I be talking about when they talk about Cap Master. You can't expect him to jump on a grenade. I ain't expecting him to do nothing. This is what this man said out his mouth. He just be talking. And that's what Jamel Hill be talking about. Like, look, dog, you just be out here super capping too hard, boy. They give certain brothers that title, boy. They let it go to their head. Yeah, I'm important. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not. So all of those narratives that they keep running by you, it comes up null and void. Nobody really pays any attention to it or care about it. So that was the biggest cap I've heard probably of the day. He put his career on the line. I'm like, who did you say? Stephen A will never have a conversation with me because he know he's going to get exposed. I'll be like, let's take it back to your columnist days. Remember the straight shooter you named your show after? Where'd you get it from? Oh, the article, the one that you got Coach Gaines removed, right? Yeah, okay. You know he was the coach for 3 more years after you. So they didn't fire the coach because of you. The coach was only removed because they came up with a new rule saying that you can't coach past a certain age. You realize that, right? So he had to step down and retire. So this had nothing to do with you. You understand that, right? Oh, you know how it be. Where's this article at? I would love to read it since this is a prominent article that made your life. Quite sure you have it, right? Where is this article? Why we've never seen it? I'm just saying, it's a lot of gaps in these stories, man. Yeah, well, when you have a lot of things that's in the background, a lot of people just won't know. But it is what it is, or it is what it isn't. How does Shannon feel? He knows he dealing with people at arm's length. You know, you got to keep him in arm's length. Most of these people, man, they out to get you, and the other ones, they out to get you too. So just keep your head on a swivel. Yeah, that was nuts. To hear him say that line was just absolutely insane. So oh, 100%. So anyway, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. We're gonna update the memberships today. So everybody who signed up and became a member over here, we got something fun for y'all. So just stay tuned. And don't forget to join the Patreon. Yep. So we about to get loose. Let's go.